I'm here as a highly educated woman who went to college and also got a master's degree to say that I am hopelessly in love with a man who has nothing more than a Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Cha Cha Beat. There's a statistic going around the internet that by 2030, 43% of women will be single. This is upsetting to me because, as a woman, I want my kind to thrive and find a man that they love, a man to love, and who loves them. Spoiler alert, it's not perfect and it's not easy. Not always super romantic and glamorous, but it is love. I want everyone to, all these women to be able to find love, and also women to be able to find love in time for them to have babies. In turning 38 and turning 39, I couldn't help but be aware of the fact that, I've made this decision so long ago, but today I am cashing in those chips and, there's no takesy-backsies on this decision. And had to do a really good kind of look within and really think, like, is this really what I want or don't want? And despite what my parents may want or society may think, birthing a baby, my own flesh and blood, is just not something I feel drawn to in this life. But anyway, the point is that I want these women who want to have kids, I want them to have kids to balance out the fact that I am a woman who has chosen not to have children. Women like me who have made this choice used to be a rarity, and most women would have children and, the human race would go on, despite the fact that some women just didn't have that particular calling. But the women who do, I want them to be able to find a good man to have those children with. And it is my understanding that it is pretty rough out there. Again, I'm 39, turning 40, and I have been with Justin for 10 years now. So we met when I was 31. So how's that math? Justin, who I met when I was 31, is my first boyfriend that I have ever had. Before that, I didn't really date or have too much male interaction throughout high school and college. A little bit, but I didn't have a steady in any way. And then after college, when I moved to New York City and started dating a little bit, it was dating a little bit. There was definitely a couple years in the middle where I don't think I went out on a single date. And that's not for oh, I'm not dating, I don't want to meet any men. We didn't have social media, or I guess we had social media, but we didn't have dating apps back then. You used to meet IRL, and just for a couple years, I just didn't meet anyone. The longest, I can't even call them relationships. The longest I ever dated someone was probably about 3 months. The first month, they are enamored with how beautiful and charming and funny and smart and well-spoken I am. And the second month, they are a little less enamored by it. And by the third month, it was kind of just a matter of time until they stopped messaging me or calling me, and I had to figure out that we were just no longer dating. So I know what it's like to go like to be dating and to have years of like not having anyone recognize you. That being said, ladies, the current situation with dating apps, and that being kind of the primary way that people are meeting people, is that you are judging each other based on, you know, it's like an application. There's no way to send through an app like the essence or the smell or the eye contact of someone. The first time I met Justin, we were at a party, and like I remember him like saying hi to me, and I looked up and like our eyes met. Like I remember the moment that our eyes met. Like maybe we would have found each other in a dating app. You know, he is very handsome, and so, you know, maybe I would have swiped on him just because of that. But I have a feeling that what we would have written in our little descriptions of what he would have written, of like what he's into, what he's looking for, and all of that, I have a feeling that we would not have like set. We're very, very, very different. We are opposites attract. But because we met in person, but I know that, you know, you can't meet people in person anymore. I understand. But on the apps, when you are judging someone by their looks, which is, you know, a whole other problem, but based on like his qualifications of what job he has or where he went to school or how many degrees he has, and you're looking for this status, you're selling yourself short. You're selling yourself short. There are so many more great guys out there than the ones that have the flashy jobs or the flashy degrees or whatever the pedigree is, the bouge that you ladies are seeking. You are just too big of snobs to see that. I'm a pretty big snob. I see snob sees snob. Snob sees snob. So I get it. Like you want like the fancy man to come in and rescue you and give you this amazing life and love you and cherish you because you are you and you're beautiful. And why wouldn't he? Okay, let's get into this video. Like I'll like chime in with like my nuggets, my little sparks, my sparks of wisdom.
I think that if you looked at the average male, female in the United States and looked at the deficits and benefits of the sex, you know, what are the advantages to being a man? What are the disadvantages? It turns out that it's just a complicated mix of blessings and burdens. There are ways in which men are privileged and ways in which women are. And it's impossible to say who's better off at this point. And it also depends on the complex set of advantages and burdens, and it varies by social class and so forth. But it's absurd to simply say the women are so much worse off and the men are. I mean, I think it's a central fallacy in feminism. They fail to notice, well, let me put it this way. I think too much of the feminist movement focuses on men and women at the very top in professions like how many CEOs of Fortune 500s. And it's true, there are far more men than women, and I'd like to see more men who are, senators and just at the top of their profession. But what happens when you look further down in society and people who are not, in the top 10% in terms of education and elite degrees and so forth? It's a different picture. If you look at working class men and women, it's, both have burdens and challenges. And one of the special burdens that a working class young man has is he's likely to be less educated. And he's entering an information economy where, as I keep saying, education has never been more important and literacy has never been more important. And we have a large cohort of young men coming along who are not going to find a place for themselves in this economy. And so the fact that we have a women's movement that has only looked and primarily focused on some imbalances at the very pinnacle of society and not looked at just the reality of the lives. And to be more specific, if you look at, they'll talk about the wage gap, and that's true. There's a gap, and we want to close it, but I think we have to be honest about it. It's not as extreme as they say, and most of it's explained by the different jobs men and women do, or how many hours you work per week, things like that. But also, men do most of the dangerous jobs. There's a huge gap in mortality in the workplace. Like, I don't know, something like 5,000 Americans die in the workplace every year. 94% of them are men. So that, that's, then it goes, that's mortality, but also it's true for injuries. And men do most of the dangerous, gritty jobs, the jobs where you're outside or pitching tar or on top of roofs or construction. These are largely male undertakings, and it has to be factored in when you're doing this calculus of well-being. And but we don't do that. We just don't do it. And I'm still a feminist. I believe in equality, but that means you care about men and women. And you don't see, as you mentioned before, you don't see it as a competition where you have to be on one team. Because I think that also if men are in trouble or boys are in trouble, so are women. We're in this together. So what we're doing now is so perverse, because by not attending to the education of young men, there's going to be a mismatch. People typically marry someone with a similar education. What's going to happen? I mean, we know what's happening right now. A lot of people aren't finding each other.
I agree with her. It's like, I don't like labels. I don't know if I would say like I am a feminist, but I grew up like, girl power, my body, my choice. My mother worked as an RN nurse for Planned Parenthood for 25 years. So like, I got it. Vote blue, no matter who, girl boss. I have consumed all of it. However, I don't really want to say feminist because honestly, that comes off a little like angry. And I'm not angry about being a woman. I am not angry at men. I love men because they do, like she said, all the dangerous stuff. Like they do jobs that I don't want to do. I don't want to have to do. I also disagree with this woman when she's talking about how these undereducated men who maybe only have like a high school diploma, are not going to be included in this economy. Part of the reason for that is because over the past, like, I don't know, decade or so, we've put so much emphasis on Silicon Valley and tech and AI and all these things. But like, who is building our roads? Who is wiring our Wi-Fi? Who is plumbing our drains and sewers and making sure that we have fresh water coming in? Everyone in society is being told, like, you gotta go to college. We're telling all these people to go to college, that if everybody goes to college, going to college kind of equals going to high school, because it's become some kind of like assumption or requirement of like what the next step like has to be in order to get an education. Where we should maybe be encouraging people of, go to trade school. And by people, I mean men. They're the strong ones that, love to build stuff and get dirty, just being honest. Encourage them to go to trade school. We would still have this education gap, which we'll get to in a moment. We're not encouraging any men to go into the trades. No one is saying, hey, if you're a plumber, like, you will never be unemployed. It is recession proof. It is AI proof. You will always have a job, a steady income that, people rely on you. They will always need you. It is never going to go out of style to be a plumber. You will always be able to find work. No one's telling the men this. Oh, also, like, the earning potential in the trades is like, you can climb the ladder or create your own company and make a cool $1 million a year in the trades, a cool couple million. You don't need to go to college to make that happen. So we have all these women who are going to college. If not college, then also some kind of master's or doctorate or PhD, higher learning. And we have all these men who are not, and the women with the higher degrees are too big of snobs to even look at the men who do not have degrees, and thus none of y'all got any men to date. I'm here as a highly educated woman who went to college and also got a master's degree to say that I am hopelessly in love with a man who has nothing more than a high school diploma. After high school, was working at a pizza place, and a customer came in one day who, I guess he had a plumbing company, I'm not really sure, but asked Justin if he wanted a job. So he started snaking drains and started making money and started learning the craft and learning the business, and created for himself his own entrepreneurial enterprise, to the point where when we met, he has a thriving plumbing company. He owns his own home. Supports his mother financially. I did mention that he's very handsome. He's kind, he's generous, he's one of the best communicators. Swiping on an app, if I see he didn't go to college, he's never gonna earn as much as me. While Justin has such greater earning potential than I do, because he can, he's not just on a salary that they can take away at any moment. You get laid off and then hard stop to the income coming in. I just can't stand by and watch all these women say, oh, there's no one to date, when there are handsome I'm not saying that all of them are I don't want to say Abercrombie models, because that's taboo now, but sometimes an unobtainable 10 that kind of treats you like he doesn't really care, and he's just aloof or dismissive or non-communicative. Wouldn't you so much rather have an 8 with a great personality and grit and humor, and knows how to use his hands and work really hard, and he will protect you and take care of you and just live happily ever after? I asked Google how many higher educated women are with men with high school diplomas. Google couldn't even give me an answer. They're no one asked that. We don't know. That's not a thing. But I think it should be a thing. Give me one non-snobby reason why you need to date someone of equal or higher education to you. Let me know in the comments what you think. It feels so weird to be all really watching all these YouTubes and super interested in the dating scene. I think YouTube thinks I'm single, not very happily taken, and just want to help others find their true love too.